This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News.
Students are putting an Asian twist on classic hip-hop.
MSUM athletes are preparing to leave the comfort of the gym and enter a more natural environment.
See how MSUM is helping student veterans as they transition into college life.
But first, thieves are roaming the hallways of MSUM and NDSU.
Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Veronica Utek.
And I'm Benjamin Reiki. Professors at MSUM and NDSU are on the lookout for thieves who have been stealing items crucial to their jobs, textbooks.
Reporter Anthony Frigin tells us about the search for these book bandits.
MSUM professor Vinod Lal has been teaching at MSUM for countless years and never thought this would happen to him. He had 6 books stolen from his office. He says it impacts more than just professors.
You know, some of us were a little upset, especially if we had lost a book that we were using the current semester. That was the only copy we had. And you know, if you're using a textbook for the current semester, it's difficult both for the instructor as well as for the students that we are helping.
The question is, how were these books stolen?
On February 24th, 2 suspects entered the Center for Business. What they were looking for? Textbooks, 27 to be exact, costing the university up from $5,000 to $8,000. The only problem is, there wasn't a forced entry. The only way they could have gotten into these offices is with one of 2 things, either a card or a key.
Then he goes and sits down over here in the...
Public Safety Director Jim Schuman provided security video of the break-in and theft. Both suspects are unable to be identified at this point.
At this time, we're not sure if they're local individuals or just 2 that were passing through the area.
No matter the dollar amount,
Who would do a thing like this?
the impact on professors is real.
It makes me feel that, you know, I'm being violated. My privacy has been violated, and anything like this has never happened to me. I've never had anything stolen from me.
If any person is able to identify or provide information pertaining to these 2 suspects, contact your local authorities. With photographer Jared Eischen, Anthony Frigin, Campus News.
Anyone with information about these thefts can call MSUM Public Safety Office at 218-477-2449.
A former University of Minnesota researcher who sued for sexual harassment has been awarded a single $1, a ruling that's left many upset. Stephanie Jenkins, a doctoral student, left the university in 2012 after accusing fish and wildlife scientist Ted Swin of taking a picture of her from behind and making sexually explicit jokes. She sued for damages for the career she says she could no longer pursue. The jury found no monetary value in Jenkins' claims, resulting in the $1 award. NDSU has decided not to put into practice a new statewide policy that would let them cut faculty with little time to find a new job. The North Dakota State Board of Higher Education approved changes to the timeline colleges have to dismiss tenured staff. Tenured faculty were originally given a year's notice before being let go. Now they may have only 180 days or even just 90 days in extreme cases. Supporters of the new policy say it gives college presidents added leeway when cutting programs due to budget constraints. The president of the Faculty Senate at NDSU says the policy will hurt the schools that make this change.
It has to do with things like job stability, being concerned about being able to recruit the best faculty and maintaining high-level teaching so that students continue to have the best professors.
College presidents ultimately have the final say on how much notice tenured faculty are given before being dismissed.
The University of North Dakota has released its plans to cut 12% of its budget over the next 2 years. That adds up to $32 million. The UND College of Arts and Sciences is facing the largest cuts, around $4.2 million. Other programs affected by the cuts include business, aerospace, sciences, and law. UND is also saving money through voluntary separation and phased retirements. The budget cuts come as the North Dakota university system anticipates a 20% budget reduction from the state legislature. Whether it's dealing with financial aid or getting used to college life, veterans going back to school may find it challenging in many ways.
Reporter Trevor Tice shows us how some colleges are working to ease the transition for those who serve our country.
Loose, speed, Power.
Every Friday, Joe DeMars teaches a kickboxing class at the MSUM Wellness Center.
Good.
Throughout the session, Joe teaches all kinds of moves, from basic punches to leg kicks and more.
Very nice.
Before this, Joe enlisted in the Air Force at 19, and for 10 years traveled all around the world. Now, the 29-year-old veteran is looking to get his computer science degree at MSUM.
When I first looked at NDSU and MSUM, I noticed that MSUM, when I first called, they seemed to just be more wanting to help me. I told them, hey, the GI Bill money's coming in. It's gonna be here. And they're like, okay, don't worry about it. Go to class. We'll take care of it on our end.
When you go fast, it looks wizardry. Yep.
DeMars is looking to expand his knowledge in the cybersecurity field as he worked as a digital network analyst in the service.
This is called upgrading the software without damaging the hardware for computer science folk.
Hardware to the software to Windows or Linux.
Got it?
So doing that had taught me so much about computers in general, and it has aided me an unbelievable amount since I've been here.
With thousands of veterans returning to colleges all around the United States, some may find it challenging in many ways to relate to a much different environment and groups of people. But DeMars says he has adjusted well to MSUM.
In my time with the military, I've gone to some super serious long schools, and in the Computer Science Information Services Department, they are not handing out degrees here. I tell you what, they make you work for it.
DeMars says he is glad he got the help he did, and that the on-campus services have made a big difference for him and other veterans who are now seeking a degree. With photographer Jared Schumacher,
Inside.
Trevor Tice,
Good.
Campus News.
More than 5 million service members who served after 9/11 are expected to transition out of the military by 2020.
Much like their veteran classmates, for many college freshmen, the first year at school can be both exciting and nerve-wracking. Reporter Jacob Ambrose shows us how MSUM is preparing the new students for the hustle and bustle of college life.
MSU Moorhead staff is discovering new ways to best help new students. Not only does the college aim to make first-year experiences good for high school graduates, but also the arrival of transfer and international students.
New student orientation starts in the spring, or kind of in the summer. We have them in June now. So it's the first time that they're kind of coming to campus, they're registering for classes, they're meeting their peers, they're getting to meet our student orientation counselors and upperclassmen.
Student orientation counselors, or SOCs, are Dragon students who help freshmen with challenges they may face as new students.
One thing that I really faced during my first semester was being homesick. But then realizing that it wasn't just me in the situation was very helpful. So I could get a little help from Kelsey and a few other international student officers.
MSUM has a class called First Year Experience. It requires all first semester students to take a course with their SOC and learn about the university.
FYE is a way to kind of understand how to work with college courses and transition from a high school class to a college class and know studying skills, how to get involved on campus, who to talk to when you need help with certain situations.
They have their student orientation counselor with them throughout that whole time to be kind of their peer mentor. They have the faculty instructor there. We're giving them the resources that they need. Once again, making sure that they're building those connections.
With photographer Anna Sandmeyer, Jacob Ambrose, Campus News.
One goal of the MSU Moorhead's first year experience is to empower the students to not only succeed in college, but to be lifelong learners.
Bemidji State University is taking advantage of the frozen tundra in its backyard. Biology students are exploring Lake Bemidji as part of their Hardwater Ice Lab. The class uses a portable fish house as their classroom. The house is normally used for a ticket booth at football games. Hardwater Ice Lab gives students real-world experience through various experiments like collecting zooplankton, measuring water clarity, and collecting sediment samples from the lake bottom. Associate Professor of Biology, Dr. Andrew Hafes, says he's hoping to secure a permanent ice house for future years. With college costs soaring, students welcome any news about scholarships that can lower their tuition. Concordia College has received a $960,000 grant to help science, technology, engineering, and mathematics students. 12 students will be awarded the scholarship. Each will receive $6,000 per year for 4 years. The scholarships will be available to students pursuing degrees in science, technology, engineering, and math. Project Director Dr. Mark Jensen is leading the program and encouraging students to apply for the scholarship.
Since we just received official word on the program officially started on March 1st, so we're really in the heavy recruiting stage right now.
Students must have a 3.0 GPA to be eligible for this scholarship. It's available from March 1st, 2017 until February 2022. AAA has confirmed what a lot of people believe: millennials take risk behind the wheel.
A study from AAA's Foundation for Traffic Safety found that 88% of young millennials engaged in risky behavior behind the wheel last month. Reporter Alyssa Eidsness takes us to college campuses to get opinions.
We are told from the start when we first learn how to drive that taking your eyes off the road is dangerous. The millennial generation won the top spot for the worst drivers on the road. AAA came out saying there has been a rising increase of reckless driving, all caused by the age groups of 19 to 24. Everything from texting to talking, which can lead to running red lights, sometimes with fatal consequences. And some younger drivers might think that's too stereotypical.
I feel that it's more like as society thinks that millennials are bad and they take everything for granted and stuff. So I feel like there's usually a lot of negative thoughts towards millennials.
If I look into the vehicles next to me, I would say that these days younger people, more than older people, have their mobile devices in one hand while driving.
I think a lot to do with it is probably technology, people just being on the phone and being distracted, so that probably is a factor in that.
The goal is to prevent careless driving on the road, because what younger drivers forget is that one text could be the cost of someone else's life. Alyssa Eidsness, Campus News.
According to the study by AAA's Foundation for Traffic Safety, only 8% of millennials consider themselves to be a safe driver. Some people may wonder what a college student can do with an English degree.
But students who attended Concordia's English Futures Forum learned it can take them a long way. Reporter Jacob Ambrose tells us about a Concordia alum who's inspiring English majors.
At Concordia College in Moorhead, students gathered to hear some advice from one of their very own at this year's English Futures Forum.
But it's really quite amazing when you have a chance to take a look back and to really see how this journey has started.
Christy Huber graduated from Concordia in 1998. Since then, she's worked with different organizations such as the Sanford Health Foundation and John Deere.
I think having that diversity is interesting to students, especially as they consider what do they want to do with their future and what are the different opportunities that they could follow.
Students who went to the event found it helpful that the speaker was from their school.
Concordia English major has had a very successful and rewarding career, so I really aspire to do that. That inspires me a lot.
The English Futures Forum here at Concordia helps students understand if their major is right for them.
Well, I'm an English major. I'm studying English writing, and I think it's a really great way for us to learn about opportunities that might not be talked about regularly in the classroom.
After Christy spoke, Concordia staff members set up different booths to help discuss career options with the students.
The station about transferring your English skills, about how to transfer them in job interviews was really helpful. She kind of challenged you a little bit. She kind of kept putting pressure on you to come up with new ways to describe your the skills that you learned as being an English major.
Huber says what she shared at the event is what has helped her become president of United Way, a position that she has held since last May. With photographer Anna Sandmeyer, Jacob Ambrose, Campus News.
Huber is also a member of Concordia's National Alumni Board and encourages both students and alumni to make a difference in their communities.
For most college students, social media is a very important part of their lives, but one app is rising above the rest. A study done by Lend.edu shows over 50% of college students head to Snapchat before any other social media platform. The poll asked over 9,000 college students, which social media app do you click first? The next closest app was Instagram, with 20% of college students say they opened that app first. Snapchat currently has 158 million daily users compared to Facebook's 1.8 billion daily users.
A Lamar University student has created a video game putting people in the shoes of migrants crossing the border. Gonzalo Alvarez named the game Borders. Players face different obstacles like avoiding border patrol, hiding in cacti, and collecting water jugs to stay hydrated. Each time a player dies, a skeleton is left behind. The skeleton remains permanently in the same location. There are over 600 skeletons in the game. If a player makes it to the final round, they can sign their name saying they made it to the United States. After President Trump's inauguration, Alvarez said he wanted to send a message on how many died attempting to cross the border.
College students studying the arts could be searching for a new major after a proposed budget cut by President Donald Trump. President Trump announced a federal budget plan eliminating the National Endowment for the Arts and Humanities. This is the first time a U.S. president has called to end the endowments since President Lyndon B. Johnson created them in 1965. Art students at Concordia College are displaying their artistic creations after competing for the chance to be named Best in Show.
Reporter Stephen Larson takes us to the gallery to show us what they've got.
At Concordia's Cyrus M. Running Gallery, students are taking part in a juried art exhibition. Students submitted work to be considered, and then a judge selected the pieces that would be included in the final exhibition. Dr. Jeff Knight, the gallery director, says that students will go through a similar process in the real world, and doing it while in college will only help them.
Juried show helps students prepare for getting their work ready for shows, getting their work exhibition ready, meaning framed, matted, ready to exhibit on a wall.
Junior Maddie Malad won one of the Best in Show awards for her provocative work.
Just get inspired by the human body. I think it's really cool, so I decided to draw that.
Malad believes that seeing other people's art drives her work to new heights.
I think it's really cool to see other students' work and get a feel for the work your peers do, and it's also interesting because it's open to any student. You don't have to be an art major.
With photographers Paulina Glowacki and Eric Barkowitz, Stephen Larson, Campus News.
The gallery is open to the public until March 26. And now we turn it over to Haley Foster for a look at this week's sports. Hey Haley, I hear some Dragon athletes are looking forward to springing into a new season.
That's right, Ben, and they're getting ready to jump in right now. With the indoor track and field season wrapping up, MSUM athletes are quickly getting ready for the outdoor leg of the year. Reporter Brandon Larson takes us to Nemzik Fieldhouse to meet some All-American Dragons.
The NCAA Division II National Tournament for Indoor Track and Field showed off talented student athletes from all over the U.S., including 2 Dragons. MSUM thrower Katrina Mellengard earned first-team All-American honors for her performance.
I'm pretty happy. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't be happy ending on a PR and a All-American status.
Mellengard placed 3rd in weight throw with a toss of 61 feet and 9 3/4 inches. Looking ahead to the outdoor season, she's hoping to make it back to nationals and capture yet another record for the Dragons.
My ultimate goal was actually to break the school record, which I did for indoor, and then I'm about 10 feet away from that for outdoor right now. So it'd be pretty cool to break that one too and get my name up there twice.
MSUM long jumper Brian Huber earned 2nd team All-Americans at nationals. Huber says he hopes to improve on his performance for the upcoming season.
For me, I'd like to be an All-American again, first team. My main goal is always to be a national champion, so hopefully I can get there and do well in outdoor.
While they are looking forward to the outdoor season for different reasons, both Mellengard and Huber say the team's overall goal is to increase the Dragons' conference standing.
For the team, being in the top 3 in the conference is always a good goal to have. We were able to do that a couple years ago. Indoor season, I think we're down a little bit lower than that. So to get back up in the top 3 in the conference would be really good for outdoor season.
I know outdoor is normally a little bit stronger than indoor, just because you get the freedom and you get the space to do what you need to do.
With photographer Haley Foster, Brandon Larson, Campus News.
The Dragons' first outdoor meet will take place at the SMSU Mustang Open on March 31st. The MSUM men's basketball team has been scorching the competition. Now they're adding a new record-breaking player to their ranks, and they think he'll be a slam dunk. Jesse Berg recently committed to play at MSUM starting next fall. Berg is currently a senior at Lake Park Audubon High School. This season he scored 50 points in a game against Waubun, setting a record for the program. He also helped lead his team to the Section 6A championship game earlier this month. Berg says more than 20 universities were interested in him, including schools in Massachusetts and Illinois. For the first time ever, the Northwestern University men's basketball team received a bid to the NCAA National Tournament. The Wildcats were the only Division I team in a major conference to not reach the big dance. They received a number 8 seed and drew Vanderbilt in their first game, where they won 68-66. However, the team lost to number 1 seeded Gonzaga in the second round. This was Northwestern's first appearance in its 78-year history. The NCAA named 4 finalists for basketball's Naismith Trophy, and 1 player is leading the pack. UCLA freshman Lonzo Ball is expected to win the annual Player of the Year distinction. Ball ended the regular season averaging 14.8 points per game. He's also projected to go in the top 5 of this year's NBA draft. The Naismith Trophy will be handed out on April 2nd. A former NDSU basketball player is planning on tackling a new sport. Dexter Werner is taking on professional football after playing basketball for 4 years at NDSU. Werner is 6'6" and 225 pounds. NDSU football assistant coach Tyler Roll says Werner would be an ideal tight end because of his size and jumping ability. Werner is currently training at Dynasty Performance in Fargo, where he's been receiving advice from former NDSU football players Christian Dudzik and Cole Jurek. Werner will participate in the Bison Football Pro Day next week. Screaming crowds, conference championships, and mountains of homework. The life of a student athlete is a constant balancing act between sport and school. Reporter Alexis Kerslake shows us how athletes at MSUM are keeping up with their studies.
Haley Roed is a freshman on the MSUM swimming and diving team who has had to adjust from high school to college sports.
The transition has been going good so far. It's a lot different because I'm from a small town. I'm from Crookston, Minnesota, and going from a high school team of 15 to a college team of 45 has really been kind of a big difference.
Haley is just one of many freshmen who must learn to adapt quickly if they are going to succeed. The demands of being both a student and an athlete can be challenging.
Now that we have meets coming up on the weekends, I'll have to learn how to fit homework into my time during the week.
Here at Minnesota State University Moorhead, there are 14 varsity sports, 5 men's and 9 women's.
The amount of student athletes we have is a little over 370. I think it's one of the highest totals we've ever had.
The athletic department staff plays an important role in helping their student athletes manage sports and studies. They help by organizing study groups, tutors, and working with advisors to keep students on track.
The best advice I give to them is to maintain a good balance between their academics and their athletics.
Jessica Hart is a senior on the MSUM women's basketball team. She has overcome various obstacles to succeed in school and sports.
Some challenges that I faced would be time management, staying organized, communicating with my teachers, and staying on top of all my homework.
Hart has her own strategies for success as a student athlete.
Some tools I use would be using a planner, using my classmates, and making sure I text them to see if I missed anything.
Even though it can be difficult, these student athletes say with the right balance and determination, their busy lives can be very rewarding. With photographer Emily Zahara, Alexis Kerslake, Campus News Sports.
In all 3 athletic divisions, student athletes graduate at a higher rate than the general student population. You know, it's always hard to find the perfect balance between life and school, but it's nice to see these student athletes putting an emphasis on academics.
Absolutely, Haley. Your brain should only be in your biceps. Right, Ben?
Speak for yourself. Thanks, Haley. MSUM students are shaking what their mamas gave them and kicking it in an underground event center to hip-hop sound with a Japanese twist.
Reporter Tyler Ziegler shows us how students move and groove to beats from the East.
Once a week, in what is usually a dance floor for informal freshman and sophomore dances, the CMU's underground turns into a stage for the KTYD. KTYD stands for the Kawa Tatsu Yosakoi Dance Club. The senior leader of the club, Caitlin Lyther, has been a part of the group for 4 years.
Yosakoi is a fusion of Japanese traditional dance and modern hip-hop. So a lot of our moves are very traditional. On the other hand, every once in a while we'll break into a more hip-hop section.
After a vigorous stretch session and warm-up, The group reviews, learns, and hones their Yosakoi skills in order to get ready for their public performances.
Do you want to go through that again?
Caitlin says there are other reasons than just performances to join KTYD.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of friends. It's an athletic activity, so if you need that excuse to come out, it's pretty good too.
The KTY dance group is a tight-knit family, but they encourage any student to come and join in on the fun.
Dancing Yosakoi is more than just physically demanding. The members have to be mentally strong as well in order to remember all of the choreography. Being a part of this team helps the students grow physically and mentally, but in some instances, it can even help a member grow emotionally.
I'm an introvert, so I don't really usually hang out with people a lot. I have a lot of trouble when it comes to talking with people, but having been a part of this group has really been able to open me up as a person.
Desi says that joining the KTYD has been one of the best decisions that she's made so far in college. With photographer Branson Reeser, Tyler Ziegler, Campus News.
The KTYD's next performance will be at the Celebration of Nations, hosted by MSUM. And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with another look at MSUM's Kawatatsu Yosakoi Dance Club.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.